Coffee should be fresh. That's one of the secrets of good coffee. It needs to be fresh.
But annoyingly, most of the coffee we drink is far from good.
Every day we drink tasteless coffee and try to hide the fact by drowning it in sugar. France has always been one of the leading countries as far as cuisine and gastronomy is concerned, but we are pretty poor when it comes to coffee.
Once ground, coffee loses its aroma quickly and can't be kept for more than a month, and it's highly unlikely supermarket coffee has been vacuum-packed within that time frame.
You have it because you've bought 100% Arabica coffee from Peru, but you don't actually know what you're buying. You know you're buying a coffee from Peru, but you don't know where it was actually grown, whether or not it is a good quality coffee, if the beans have been shelled without residue, that there were no bad or empty coffee beans, or beans that weren't picked at maturity. These beans are sold on to the coffee industry or freeze-dried coffee manufacturers.
And so if you don't want to be left with a bad taste in your mouth, listen to what coffee merchants have to say or seek the advice of a barista, a growing profession in France.
We operate the machine, we make cappuccinos with patterns on top and make sure they are served immediately. This is part of a barista's job, but there's much more to it. We have a sound knowledge of the entire coffee-making process, from the tree to the cup. If we were to draw a diagram, there would be around 50 stages. Are you ready? Let's go!
Baristas, these coffee sommeliers, even take part in tournaments. They battle it out in what the French call frogs fight.
The English name for the French is frogs, and this is to show the Brits what we're made of. French coffee does not have the best reputation abroad. We are seen as pretty behind the times. Coffee comes from a red fruit, referred to as the cherry. And there are 2 coffee beans inside.
Green coffee beans which turn brown during roasting as the moisture escapes.
What we can hear behind us is the coffee beans being tossed around, so the heat can toast the beans evenly. As the heat penetrates to the center of the bean, a chemical reaction takes place. It's delicious at this point, sweet, mild. Each percolation method produces a different flavor and texture. Filtered coffee, for example, enhances the coffee's most delicate aromas, and it will have a less full-bodied flavor. The espresso coffee method intensifies the flavor. It's like a zoom. It gradually breaks down certain elements, leaving us with an explosive flavor. There's a constant regular flow. It's rectilinear. This is the way it should be done. Coffee can have a floral aroma or fruity. It can be mild, smooth. Sometimes it has a chocolatey flavor or a nutty taste. There is such a wide range of flavors. There's something for everyone.
This real coffee costs around €5 for 250 grams.
We try to increase our margins on certain coffees, which are great coffees and streets ahead of what you find in supermarkets. It's important to know where the coffee comes from what region, whether or not it's from a plantation, what farm it comes from, and whether or not it was treated on site. If a state is mentioned on the packaging, it means that everything was done at the farm, like wine labels that say the wine is bottled and the grapes are grown on land owned by the winery. It's exactly the same idea with coffee.
There are 2 main species of coffee plant.
The Robusta coffee plant grows as a robust tree, hence the name, and is grown on plains and needs sunlight. It produces a lot of fruit and is easy to harvest. It has less flavor, contains a lot of caffeine, and so it's bitter. The other species is Arabica, which owes its name to the fact it was first discovered and cultivated in the Arab world. It is said to produce better coffee and has a much fuller flavor. When we talk about acidity and bitterness in a coffee, it's not a bad thing. On the contrary, these are words used to describe the quality of a coffee. Who wants a coffee?
For Chef Claude Colliot in restaurants, the coffee is just as important as the food.
In my eyes, it would be unthinkable to eat in a good restaurant and be served a poor coffee at the end of the meal. Everything from the starter, the water, the wine, right down to the coffee is part of the dining experience.
Claude Colliot uses coffee as a condiment ingredient. He mixes it with Kalamata olives and serves it with his foie gras.
So we take a bit of coffee, add a hint of chili, some fresh herbs, some thyme.
And some walnut or hazelnut oil.
It's looking good, it's shiny. I select our coffee as I would our wine. Our wine menu consists of organic wines, as opposed to wines from around the world, and it's the same for our coffee.